Hi, this is Keith with Total Seal Piston Rings. And one of the questions I get asked every day is, how do I need to hone my block? Well, that's an extremely involved question. We're going to kind of talk about it just a little bit here. Most guys just want to know what kind of grit to use, what stone, 220, 280. Well, a lot of things have changed. Rings are much thinner, much lighter. We're dealing with blocks that are much, much harder today, that don't want to wear down. If you had an old soft block with a big 5/64 ring and a 20-pound oil ring, well, it's eventually going to plateau the cylinder and make it a nice smooth surface all on its own, even if you didn't do it during the honing process. But today, with 0.8 millimeter rings and 2 millimeter oil rings and blocks that are 300, 350, 400 Burnell in hardness, you better get it right during the honing process, or it's going to really take some time. Because when we're seating a set of piston rings, really what we're seating is the cylinder wall. We've already pre-lapped the rings here. We go through a lapping process, which is covered on another video. So we know the ring's correct, it's light, tight, it's pre-lapped. But if the cylinder wall isn't correct, it's going to have to wear that surface down. And that's what can delay ring seating. Rings should be in 1 or 2 hits on the dyno. Guys that take 10, 15, 20 hits and it's getting better, it's getting better. That generally indicates to me they've got a cylinder finish problem. And this is a representation of what that looks like. The upper graph is a cylinder that's been honed using a 280 grit stone with no proper plateau process afterwards. And what you see is lots of peaks, lots of valleys, but no nice flat area. Down here you've got a beautifully plateaued cylinder. Very small roughness across the top, lots of valleys for good oil retention. And that's a beautifully plateaued hone. Why do we need that? It's all about the amount of pressure. 500 pounds of force against a perfectly flat surface equals 500 pounds of contact pressure. What you got to remember is rings ride on a film of oil. They don't ride on the cylinder wall. Only time they touch is during initial startup. So we want to make sure they're riding on a nice film of oil. Well, if we've got lots of peaks and lots of spikes, we've only got 10% plateau. We've got 5,000 pounds of pressure pushing through that oil film, and the rings are going to go metal to metal. We're going to have terrible ring seal, terrible damage to the rings, lots of scuffing, and a delayed amount of time it takes to seat. So we come back in after that 280, we maybe hit it a little bit with a 400 grit, and maybe we knock it down to a 40% amount of plateaued area. I've reduced that pressure from 5,000 pounds to 1,250 pounds of pressure. So it's lower, but still not as low as I'd like. Ultimately, what we're after is an 80% plateaued area. We want to see 80% reduction in peaks. We've got a nice, relatively smooth surface. Only 625 pounds of pressure being displaced across that area, across the ring face, trying to push through that oil film. We're going to seat up very quickly and have minimal wear to the ring and minimal wear to the bore, and again, very quick seating times. If you're in question about how to properly plateau your engine, give us a call, have your machinist call so we can try to walk you through it.